The story of Jeffrey Epstein and how it seemed to just end abruptly on Attorney General Pam Bondi's desk is still sending shockwaves through the MAGA America First community. And while Epstein was a twisted man who did twisted things, the more observant among you by now know that it's absurd to explain anything around Epstein without also discussing his likely ties to CIA, Mossad, MI6, and whatever other country for whom he was a financial mercenary. This explains why Attorney General Bondi pursued the Epstein story at first in good faith, but realized too late Epstein was above the DOJ's pay grade. Now, this has happened before in history as well. So what is going on here? After the fact that Epstein belonged to intelligence, there are political reasons. The world's most successful defense attorney, Alan Dershowitz, who at one point took on Epstein as a client, had this explanation.
And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything.
Translation? The intelligence community has had to use the courts to ensure none of Epstein's files get out. They do this. And then our friend Bill O'Reilly added this practical political reason.
I talked to President Trump man to man, eye to eye, on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings.
The problem is the damage is done. Trust has been lost. If the big MAGA names aren't saying it in the open, and plenty of them are, they're saying this behind the scenes. This has the power to take down the entire MAGA movement. Trust lost translates into no turnout in the midterms, and maybe beyond. So what does Team Trump do now? I sat down with Mike Benz, former State Department cyber official, corporate attorney, and head of Foundation for Freedom Online. His work is widely followed, anywhere from Elon Musk to the Trump cabinet. They watch his stuff. So we sat down for an hour. I'll release the full conversation next week, but Mike Benz says Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Trump administration can, in fact, fix this Epstein fiasco if they do this one thing.
But what I'm telling you, and I'm telling thousands of people and policymakers and Justice Department officials watching this, is you cannot throw up your hands and say, well, we don't want to spend precious resources on a wild goose chase, sifting through hundreds of thousands of dollars of hundreds of thousands of classified documents at the Senate. You don't need to. Less than 5 years ago, your office produced a report about Jeffrey Epstein's intelligence connections. You have access to every single one of those documents. There is no excuse that you cannot revisit those and there's no reason we, the American people, can't see what was said about Epstein's intelligence dossier or ties in your own investigation of the very topic. That reported directly to Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, if she does this, I think will be a hero. If she doesn't, I think it will be a part of the legacy. And it's an easy thing to not do. If you claim you didn't know about it, you didn't think to look at a plea deal review from 11 years ago and a in-house report done 5 years ago. But I'm telling you now, you can't plead ignorance. There's no more plausible deniability. The OPR report, all of the meta information has to be made public. The private transcripts with Alex Acosta on the intelligence topic have to be made public, or else it's a cover-up. So, you're either a hero on this or you're covering it up. And I implore, if you want the American people's trust, At a moment where it feels badly damaged, this is an immediate thing. You can do this with a 1-month turnaround, and this will be the litmus test for whether or not this was good faith or not.